Amanhle had never owned a pair of shoes that did not bite her heels. In her small village near Tamale in northern Ghana, poverty was not a season, it was the weather of life. The red dust clung to her faded dresses, and hunger had a permanent seat at their wooden table. Her father, once strong and respected, had grown thin from failed harvests and mounting debts. The money-lender's visits had become frequent, his cough louder than his knock. When the rains failed for the third year, the whispers began. Marry her off, the elders advised. It will save the family. Amanhle was only 19 when her fate was negotiated like a bag of maize. The man chosen for her was Kofi Mensah, a quiet, poorly dressed mason from a nearby village. He arrived at their compound in worn sandals, his shirt neatly washed but clearly old. He spoke softly, eyes lowered, promising to take care of her as best as he could. There was nothing impressive about him, no land, no car. No flashy promises. Just a humble man with calloused hands and a shy smile. Amanhle felt her dreams collapse silently inside her. She had once imagined marrying a trader from Accra or a cocoa merchant from Kumasi. Instead, she was being handed to a man who seemed as poor as she was. The wedding was small and rushed, drums beat weakly, neighbors watched curiously, and Amanhle forced a smile that did not reach her eyes. She moved into Kofi's one-room house on the outskirts of town. The roof leaked when it rained, and the mattress was thin. On their first night, she cried quietly, thinking her life had ended before it began. But Kofi surprised her in small ways. He woke up before dawn every day, cooked porridge for her, and walked long distances to construction sites. He never raised his voice. He never complained. Still, money was scarce. They struggled to pay rent. Some nights, they ate only once. Amanhle began to resent him. "Why did you agree to marrying me if you have nothing?" she snapped one evening. Kofi looked hurt but remained calm. "I thought we could build something together," he replied gently. Months passed. The village gossip grew louder. People mocked Amanhle for marrying a hopeless man. Some claimed Kofi was cursed because despite his hard work, prosperity avoided him. Amanhle's heart hardened. Then one afternoon, everything changed. A convoy of black SUVs rolled into the dusty village, raising clouds that drew everyone outside. Such vehicles were rare outside Accra. The cars stopped in front of Kofi's house. Amanhle froze. Men in expensive suits stepped out, scanning the surroundings. One of them asked, "Is this the residence of Mr. Kofi Mensah?" Neighbors laughed, thinking it was a mistake. Kofi emerged from the house, still in his cement-stained trousers. The suited man approached him respectfully. "Sir, we've been looking for you for years." Amanhle's heart pounded. "Sir?" The man handed Kofi a sealed envelope and whispered something in his ear. Kofi's face drained of color. The entire village watched in stunned silence. That evening, Kofi sat Amanhle down. His hands trembled as he opened the envelope. Inside were official documents from a law firm in Accra. "There must be some mistake," Amanhle murmured. But there wasn't. Kofi had been adopted as a child after his biological father, a wealthy gold investor based between Accra and London, disappeared during a political scandal decades ago. Kofi had grown up believing his parents died poor. What he never knew was that his father had secretly built a vast fortune through gold mining and real estate across Ghana. The father had lived under a different name to avoid enemies who wanted his wealth recently. After his death, investigators traced the only surviving heir, Kofi. The documents confirmed it. Properties in East Legon, shares in major mining companies, offshore accounts. The estimated net worth, over $500 million. Amanhle felt the room spin. Her poor husband was the sole heir to a secret empire. But the twist was even more scandalous. The investigators revealed that powerful businessmen had known about Kofi's existence. They had kept him hidden, ensuring he lived in poverty so they could siphon profits from his father's companies. For years, millions meant for Kofi had been diverted. His poverty was not accidental. It was engineered. The quiet mason had unknowingly been one of the richest men in Ghana. News spread like wildfire. By morning, bloggers in Accra were calling it the billionaire in sandals scandal. Television stations camped outside the house. Politicians suddenly wanted to support Kofi. The same villagers who mocked Amanhle now bowed when she passed. But wealth did not bring immediate peace. Threatening letters arrived, warning Kofi to reject the inheritance. Anonymous callers told him to stay silent. Amanhle realized this was no fairy tale. It was dangerous. Lawyers moved them to a secure residence in Accra. For the first time, Amanhle saw the ocean and the bright lights of the city. She walked through one of the mansions legally owned by her husband, unable to believe the marble floors were hers to step on. Yet something unexpected happened. Kofi did not change. He still woke early. He still spoke gently. He insisted on visiting their old village quietly to fund schools and fix boreholes anonymously. Money does not change who we are, he told her. It reveals who we have always been, but another secret surfaced. Among the documents was evidence that Kofi's biological father had not simply died peacefully. He had been betrayed by business partners who attempted to eliminate him. The scandal reopened investigations, names of powerful figures in Accra began to leak, court cases followed. Some politicians resigned, others were arrested. The nation watched in shock as the story unfolded. On national television, Amanhle, once pitied, now found herself attending press conferences beside her husband. She remembered crying on their wedding night, believing she was trapped in a lifetime of struggle. Now she understood something deeper. She had not married poverty. She had married integrity disguised as poverty. The greatest twist was not the billions. It was this: Kofi had been tested by life without knowing he was wealthy. And he had passed. When the dust settled, Kofi established a foundation for rural development across northern Ghana. He insisted the first project be in Amanhle's village. The same elders who pressured her into marriage now thanked her publicly. The moneylender who once threatened her family attended the opening of a new community bank funded by Kofi. One quiet evening on the balcony of the Accra home, Amanhle asked him, "If you had known you were rich, would you have lived differently?" Kofi smiled. "Maybe. But then I would not have known who truly loved me." Amanhle took his hand, realizing the scandal that shook Ghana had begun with a forced marriage in a dusty village. What was meant to break her had elevated her. What was meant to hide him had revealed him. And the poor mason in worn sandals turned out to be one of the richest men the country had never known. In Ghana, people still tell the story of the billionaire who once carried cement on his head and the village girl who discovered that sometimes destiny hides behind poverty, waiting for the right moment to speak.